Picture this. You sneak into a school party that you weren't invited to, but the moment you arrive, you do something that makes everyone there run for their lives and leave as quickly as possible. You lay low for a couple days, try not to get in trouble for what happened, but eventually, you find out that what you did may have ruined someone's whole life. So let me tell you exactly what happened and why I did what I did. It all started when I got falsely accused of farting in 4th period. Now I know at first, that doesn't sound like a big deal, but if you've ever been a teenager in school, you know that getting falsely accused of farting is one of the worst things that could ever happen to you. Once you get blamed for it, you're cooked. Why are you cooked? Because once someone points at you and screams, "He farted!" your fate is sealed. Even if you didn't do it, they're gonna blame you. And I know right now, it may be hard to understand how a fart led to me ruining someone's life, but it will all make sense in a couple minutes. So I was in science class one time, and it was just a normal, boring Tuesday. Our teacher, who looked like she hadn't blinked in a decade, was halfway through a monotone explanation of photosynthesis. Everyone in the class was basically asleep, and I was in the back, staring at the clock, convinced that if I focused hard enough, I could make the time go by faster. And then suddenly, out of nowhere, you just hear a... The sound was horrifying. It was one of those juicy, soul-clapping farts that echoed off every desk and made people look around as if a ghost just entered the room. It had depth. It had bass. You could tell this fart probably came from Taco Bell. And right when it happens, everyone just pauses for a second and looks around. And in the middle of all this silence, a guy named Chase, who is sitting one row in front of me, turns back towards me and goes, "Ew, Tyler, what was that?" So I look up at him and I'm like, "What? That wasn't me." Like, there was no reason for him to think that was me. The sound obviously didn't come from where I was sitting. I didn't move. I didn't shift in my chair. There was no actual explanation for why he would blame me, except for one thing. You see, Chase, for some reason, just didn't really like me. So I'm pretty sure he blamed this fart on me because of that. So what am I saying? This was a setup. He was the one who farted, and he was planning this whole time to blame it on me. So I look around, and before I could even convince people that I was innocent, everyone's already laughing at me. I tried to defend myself. Guys, it wasn't me. I wouldn't do that. But it was too late. Everyone in class already decided that I was the person who just unleashed a 10.0 magnitude fart. So of course, kids in school like to make jokes, and since I was the guy who farted super loud in class, some of the other students came up with a nickname for me, Vit Smelly. Now my last name is Vitelli, so you can see how they came up with that. And I can't lie, it's pretty funny, I get it. But this was the start of where everything went wrong. Because I hoped that after a day or two, everyone would forget about the fart and act like this day never even happened. But day after day, week after week, the jokes kept coming. At lunch when I'm eating my PB&J. "Yo, Tyler, you want beans with that?" When I'm in PE. "Nah, don't put him on our team. He might have diarrhea mid-game." Why are the mean kids always the most clever ones? But it got so bad that I didn't really even want to go to school anymore. Not that I ever really did in the first place. But the worst part was, the person who actually farted, Chase, got none of the blame for this. He was just living his best life, capitalizing on it by making jokes about me without having to pay the price like I did. And what really pushed me over the edge? He was the popular guy. All the girls in school liked him. And me? It's not that I wasn't like, okay, I was kind of a weird kid in school. I just didn't really talk to anyone. So I always envied people like that growing up. Because Chase just had that main character energy that made me even more jealous of him. So with all that in mind, and the fact that he pretty much ruined my life by blaming this fart on me, I decided I was gonna get revenge on him. I needed to make him feel the embarrassment that I felt. I wasn't sure how I would do this at first though. It seemed impossible to make Chase seem uncool. But then came the party. And this is where the real story begins. 3 weeks after the fart heard around the school, I find out that Chase is throwing a party. And not just a small one, a full-blown, parents are out of the town for the weekend, bring everyone you know type of party. The whole school was talking about it. "Dude, Chase's party is gonna be insane. I know it's gonna be like Project X. I heard he has a pool, a hot tub, a slushy machine." And of course, I wasn't invited. Which, okay, fair. If I was Chase, I probably would not invite me too. Considering I was the person whose reputation was literally reduced to the kid who crop dusted everyone in science class. And I also didn't really touch grass when I was younger, so they probably thought I wouldn't go anyway. But all of that didn't stop me from wanting one thing: vengeance. Because something deep inside me had snapped. I didn't want to just clear my name. No, I wanted justice. I wanted Chase to feel the same embarrassment, the same shame, the same humiliation that I felt. And that's when I thought of a plan. What was it? Well, we've all heard of fart spray before, right? Well, unfortunately, I've been a victim of having to smell it. And let me just tell you, it is awful. And that's not an exaggeration. In my 47 years of being alive, I have never smelled anything worse. And I've met Reddit moderators before. If you're a Reddit moderator watching this, I apologize. I'm sure you smell like flowers. But anyways, here was my game plan. I would buy the fart spray, sneak into Chase's house during the party while all the kids from school are there, spray the fart spray all around the house, making it smell absolutely horrible. And then everyone would start to smell it, and they'd all laugh at Chase for having a disgusting smelling house. In my mind, this was a genius idea. But if I knew before what the consequences were gonna be for this, I never would have done it. Once the fart spray arrived, I tested it in my backyard. Just one spray. And yep, it was as bad as I remembered. The moment I sprayed it, I gagged, my dog ran away, a squirrel fell out of the tree and died. Pretty sure I saw the sky change colors. So I knew this was the real deal. And now I started preparing for the mission. There was no way I could just walk into the house during the party. I knew I would have been recognized immediately, so I needed a disguise. I literally went full Joe Goldberg mode and bought a whole outfit. I had a black hoodie, tinted sunglasses, and a hat. And after preparing and figuring out all the details for how I was gonna do this, then came the day I'd been waiting for. The night of the party. The party started at 8, so I waited till around 8:45 to get going. Enough time for the house to be full, music blasting, and Chase feeling like he's the king of the world. So I show up to the function in a full disguise. Hood up, sunglasses on. I look like Eric in one of his videos where he's trying to sneak into somewhere. I walk up behind a group of guys who are just arriving. They're all hyped and loud, holding energy drinks like they're about to compete in a tickling contest. That didn't even make sense. I just didn't know what else to say there. But anyways, I slip in behind them like a fart in a church, completely unnoticed, but destined to start problems. We get through the front door, and just like that, the plan is officially on. The party was crazy inside. There's music blasting, LED lights are shooting all over the place. These guys are screaming at a ping pong table like they just hit a buzzer beater in the finals. And right in the center of it all, guess who I see? None other than Chase himself. I just stare at him from across the room, like Batman watching Joker from a rooftop. Or at least I felt like Batman. But realistically, I probably looked like this. And you might think that once I got into the party, I might be saying to myself, okay, maybe I shouldn't follow through with this plan. But actually, seeing Chase have so much fun made me even more confident that I wanted to follow through with this. So I slip into the hallway and pull out the weapon, fart spray. I open the cap and immediately regret having the ability to smell, because the scent coming off the nozzle alone could knock out an elephant. And now I start spreading that smell all around the house. In Chase's room, in the living room, in all the bathrooms. I even saw a fresh batch of laundry and sprayed it into there. That part was just evil. I apologize for that one, because his mom probably did the laundry and she had to deal with it. But I'm still careful while I'm moving around. I'm still restrained. I'm not going full blast yet. I'm just laying down the breadcrumbs so people start to question the smell. I wanted this to feel like a mystery, a slow burn, something that Chase couldn't stop no matter how much he tried. And then, just like I wanted, someone in the kitchen says, "Oh, bro, what is that?" And that's when I know it's working. I tuck the spray back into my hoodie pocket and start moving up towards the second floor. The party's way louder downstairs, so barely anyone is up here besides people that are probably just straight up robbing Chase, to be honest. But after making my way up to the second floor, I find my next target, the upstairs guest bathroom. This is when phase 2 of the plan starts. I call it the flood. Now, it was time to unleash the beast. I'm talking spraying it everywhere I can, getting as much out of it as possible. Like just alone in that bathroom, I probably sprayed it 6 or 7 times. Hey, 6, 7! But then I left the bathroom and started to unleash it around the whole house. I was now going crazy with this evil bottle, spraying it literally everywhere I'm walking, making sure that every single inch of this house is covered in that smell. This wasn't just a fart anymore. It was an atomic bomb. It smelled like someone microwaved a diaper in a public restroom inside a hot dog factory during a heat wave. Then it happens. The first cough, followed by another, and then another. And then I hear someone in the hallway go, "What is that smell?" Someone sprints past me clutching their face like they just got pepper sprayed. A girl gags near the sink. One dude opens the fridge hoping that the fresh air in there will save him. "Who took a dump on the wall?" Someone screams. But then, in an unexpected twist, someone throws up in a red Solo cup. And now, it's full-blown chaos. Chase is running around the living room like the party's a battlefield. "Open the windows! Spray something! Get the Febreze!" And the best part, no one can find the source. Because it's everywhere. Under couches, in towels, on the dog. It's almost like the house itself farted from its soul. And in that very moment, I'm enjoying it. Chase is panicking as people are asking him what's going on. But what happened next made me realize that I may have taken this too far. Because after one person threw up, it was kind of funny. But then multiple people started throwing up. And not just like slightly, no, full blown heaving. There were literally people on the ground coughing as if they were choking on invisible air, which they kind of were. So now I'm kind of panicking because people are starting to look like they're in genuine pain. I'm pacing around the kitchen like, okay, should I help? Should I say something? Well, then they'll know I'm here. What do I do? But before I can decide what to do, the front door opens. And guess who walks in? Chase's mom. And I never met her before, but let's just say she wasn't the most lenient mom. She wasn't like a fun, let's call you by your first name type of mom. No, she was more like a serious PTA meeting attending type of mom. She walks into the house and just stops, dead in her tracks, eyes wide and nostrils flaring. Her mouth was slowly curling like she just walked into a boy's locker room, which she kinda did. And the look on her face, pure horror. This is what she did. What is that smell? The room goes dead silent. Even the music, which was just blasting 5 seconds ago, starts to fade, like the Bluetooth speaker itself got scared and turned itself off. Everyone is just staring silently while no one wants to say anything. Then she makes eye contact with Chase and goes, Chase, what is going on in this house? Apparently, Chase knew that he would get busted for this, but he called his mom anyway, hoping that she would fix the problem. Now Chase, who had been running around with a can of Febreze like he was fighting ghosts, sprints over to her. Mom, I don't know. I promise I didn't do anything. But she cuts him off and goes, it smells like a sewer exploded in here. Who used the toilet? Once they start arguing, people are leaving in waves. And this made me realize, if I don't dip right now, I'm probably gonna get caught, considering the fact that my whole outfit literally looks like a thief. So with the others, I jog out of the house. I go straight back to my house, right into the bathroom, strip all my clothes off because they also smell horrible, and I throw them into a trash bag. Double tie it, triple tie it. I even consider just burning it. Then I get into the shower. But as I'm taking the shower, a question comes across my mind. What have I just done? I mean, sure, I wanted revenge. I wanted Chase to feel what I felt, to have that one moment of pure humiliation. But this was too far. It hurt more people than just Chase. But little did I know, it was far from over. Because the next morning, I wake up, still feeling the guilt, expecting to get a text like, we know what you did. But nothing comes. No text, no angry DMs. It's completely silent. I start scrolling through other people's social medias, but there's nothing. No videos of the party, no dramatic captions, no memes. It's almost like it never happened. And that's when I really start to panic. Because now I'm like, wait, why is nobody talking about this? Are they all traumatized? Did everyone just collectively suppress it? Was it that bad? I expected that when we all went back to school on Monday, that's when the conversations would start. I go up to one of the people that I was kind of friends with in school that I saw at the party, and I say, yo, so how was Chase's party? He just shrugs, so I say, I heard it got wild. Yeah, the whole place smelled like actual death. So the week goes by, and I'm trying to figure out why everyone is acting so weird, and I'm trying to also kind of forget about the whole situation because I felt bad. But I'm sitting in class, still riding the emotional roller coaster of, did I just destroy a party or accidentally commit a federal offense? When my friend leans over to me and whispers, yo, did you hear what happened to Chase? Suddenly, I didn't think I was in the clear anymore. So I turn to him, trying to act casual and say, no, what happened? Nobody's seen him since the night of the party. Pause. Wait. What do you mean nobody's seen him? I pretty much say that to my friend, and he responds with, like, he hasn't been at school, he's not answering texts or phone calls, he hasn't been online, just gone. And I promise you, right then and there, I almost pass out on the floor like I was in a telenovela. I start spiraling immediately. Did I just traumatize this man into vanishing? Is he in therapy now? Was he so ashamed of what happened that he left the country and became a monk? Did his mom do something to him? I start imagining the headlines. Teen vanishes after exposure to mystery stench. Foul play suspected. Literally. The panic sets in hard. I go home that day and just sit in my room in silence. The whole time I'm just staring at my wall, running through the worst possible case scenarios. Do I confess what I did? Should I send an anonymous apology? Or do I throw away the spray and pretend I never did any of this? 1 week later, still nothing. Chase still hasn't come to school. There's no updates. Nothing. At this point, the school had gone into full gossip mode. Every period, a new version of the story spreads. Period 1. I heard he's in the hospital. Period 3. Someone told me he moved schools and he's in witness protection now. Lunchtime. I heard his mom sent him to boarding school in Wisconsin. PE. I have a source that told me that the smell changed his DNA. He's part lizard now. But the craziest part about all these rumors, everyone believed that the smell just came from a plumbing incident. Apparently, when Chase's mom smelled the awful stench, she assumed the worst. That someone broke her toilet and that basically released an evil stench into the air ducts. Word around town was that she had to air the house out for days, throw away a bunch of their furniture, and this should have been all great in theory because it meant I got away with it. But there was still one question. What happened to Chase? 2 whole weeks passed, and there was still no sign of him. Not just in class, but online too. And in this generation, it's not normal for someone to be unresponsive for 2 whole weeks when someone texts them. I mean, sure, sometimes I won't respond to a text right away just to seem mysterious and cool, but then after a couple hours, I can't resist anymore and I open the message. So all of a sudden, there was a serious question going around school. What happened to Chase? Because not even his best friends knew where he was. I was sure that wherever Chase had been these past couple of weeks, I was the person responsible for it. And I never wanted it to go that far. The burden of that guilt was way too much for me. So even though I really didn't want to do this, I decided I had to. What am I talking about? Going to Chase's house. No matter what happened to him, I needed to know. Even if that meant getting busted. Because if Chase had something serious happen to him as a result of my prank, I wouldn't have been able to handle that. So after 2 weeks of Chase being absent, I went back to the scene of the crime. I knock on Chase's front door, and after a couple seconds, his mom answers. She obviously doesn't recognize me because me and Chase weren't friends, but she immediately assumes that we were. So she goes, "Sorry, Chase isn't here right now." But before she can shut the door, I say, wait. Can you at least tell me where he is? I could tell she didn't want to, but I'm a pretty stubborn person, so she knew that it would just be easier to get this all over with if she actually told me the truth. So she sighs for a second and then goes, "Okay, were you one of the kids at the party?" This question made me nervous because now I wasn't sure if she was onto me, and I'm not really good at lying, so I say, no, yeah, yes, I was there, yeah. So then she goes, "So that means you're aware of what happened that night, correct?" I tell her yes, but this is where I realize I messed up really bad, because then she says, "Well, the past couple of months, Chase's behavior has not been great, and because his dad and I care about him so much, we decided that needed to change." What did that mean? Chase's parents sent him to boarding school, meaning he no longer went to my school. Apparently, Chase was already on thin ice with his parents, and this party was the final straw for them to finally make that decision. So they sent him away in hopes of correcting his behavior. And when she said this, I felt awful because I thought it was my fault. Like, I literally could have ruined this kid's life. But the only reason I don't feel horrible about this is that the next year in school, after summer, when we all went back, guess who was there? Chase. Except now, there was something different about him. What do I mean by that? Well, now, Chase was the nicest guy in school. Never misbehaved in class. He was way nicer to me now, and overall, just a cool guy to be around. So all I have to say is, thank the Lord the boarding school worked, because if it didn't, I would feel so horrible about what I did. I mean, I still do, but at least this is a consolation. So Chase, if you're seeing this, I guess you're welcome for helping you out. No, I am sorry though.